Gentle reminder, reflection principle. Reflect reflection. You'll notice that I got out of my chair, and the reason is because I want you to be able to see a little bit more of me. So why did I come up with that reflect reflections? It's left over from when I was a river runner. If I was teaching you how to run the river, the first thing that I would tell you is that the surface is always a reflection of what's underneath. So for example, if we were standing in the boat and we were looking downstream, on the left we might see some white caps, choppy little waves. What's the message there? Shallow rocks. Don't come over here. If we looked on the right-hand side and we saw the water was smooth and dark green, what's the message there? Deep, that's why it's dark green, and smooth surface underneath, because there's no ripples. It's okay over there. Let's go over there, and that's where we would go. People are the same way. They reflect outwardly what's going on in their head. So if we can recognize what they're reflecting and reflect it back to them, we can forge personal connections and more personal engagement. So that's what it's really all about. So interaction styles is this. We all have a style that we use. If you can recognize that style and reflect it back to the person, then you'll form a personal connection. Now, what I often get when I say that in a session, well, hey, isn't that about manipulation? No, and here's why. The brain has what we call mirroring neurons. And those mirroring neurons are actually going out, trying to connect with other people who are projecting their mirroring neurons out as well. When you make that connection, then what you end up doing is reflecting and feeling more engaged, more connected to the person. So if that's what's going on subconsciously, why don't we just do it deliberately and form that connection and increase personal engagement? So there are two principles you need to know about reflection. One, we have a style, and we reflect that style to others. So when you're reflecting your style to me, if I can recognize that style and reflect it back to you, there will be a connection that will take place and you'll feel more personally engaged with me. That's what I want to do. So what do you look at when you're looking for that? You look at what a person's doing with their head, with their eyes, with their mouth, with their hands, their gestures, what they're doing with their body. Are they leaning towards or are leaning away? I look at those subtle things and even the words that people use. And I use those same gestures, same movements of my eyes, same movements of my body to reflect your style back to you to increase that connection. Here's another one. What's really interesting is that oftentimes what I reflect to you, you'll reflect back to me. Try this in the supermarket this week. Look around for people you don't know. There may be a lot of them. Give them direct eye contact and smile. I'll guarantee you that if you're doing that, and if they're not having a bad day or they're just a total grump, they'll smile back and may even say hello. Why? Because they're reflecting your reflection back to you. Now, why is this all important? Here's why. Our brain is also making natural assessments. It's assessing, how close are they to me? What kind of gestures are they using? What is the tone of their voice? Are they loud or are they soft? Are they casual or are they agitated? What's their mood? Now, why is the brain making those assessments? It's basically trying to see if it's safe. So if you reflect their reflection to them, the brain's going, hey, look, they're on our side. They're just like us. It's okay. If you're doing the opposite, in other words, if somebody is sitting quite quietly, not gesturing, and not giving eye contact, and I'm looking directly at you, and I'm gesturing like mad, their brain's going, look out, watch out, it's not safe here, be defensive, watch this guy. So we want to eliminate that. Now, here's the last thing I want you to get from this. Do you remember in the book, I said that we speak at about a rate of 150 words a minute, but we process information in our head at about 800 words a minute. So if you do some simple math, you got 650 words that aren't coming out in what people are saying. So how do they come out? Movement, right, with the body. So what I want you to recognize is that there's a message in the movement. Now, I'm not going to talk about the messages that are in particular movements, but I do want you to note that when people start doing something and you don't understand what it means, you should ask questions. For example, if you saw this, tight lips, maybe a finger, like that. They're holding something in and they're not wanting it to come out. So if you saw that, you'd want to say, is there something about what I've said that isn't clear or maybe you don't agree with? Just ask a question, and if they feel safe, they'll tell you what the meaning is, the message is behind the movement. This whole notion of reflection is a fascinating concept. If you can just recognize what people are reflecting and reflect it back to them, not only will you create a connection, but you'll vastly increase personal engagement with that person because they'll feel safe. So here's what I want you to do this week. Start simple. Watch what people do with their eyes. So if you're talking to someone and as you talk, they're looking away, then you look away. If they give you direct eye contact, even though it may be hard for you, give them direct eye contact. If they make a gesture when they're speaking, then you make a gesture as they're speaking. Now, don't mimic them. Just watch what they're doing and reflect it back to them. Have some fun with this and recognize what happens. I hope you enjoy yourself. Thanks for listening.